Are you guys noticing any pattern, any type of way, or and they're just? It seems like it was a good week for stocks to fade. So in theory, we should have made a lot of money. What have you noticed?
CYN had the biggest spike of all from the highs, from the open, the biggest run from the open.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think they were faders, but they were the pushes at the open were
Let's see.
difficult to catch the offering.
Yeah, bro, the offering these days has been so hard.
I
They
have the
just
feeling that every time there is some offer in play, if it's too easy to see, you need to think where where is the worst place to how to say like where is the worst place that they drop an offering for me. So that's the place where I should short because it's where they will do it. You know what I mean?
like, there's no way you could predict a smush up here and then be like an offering's
Yeah.
coming. No, no. I think the only so one thing I have noticed is they squeeze and then they do an offering on APVO,
Yeah.
on CYN and stuff like that.
KTTA.
Yeah, but I don't think
They
the
did
right
it near
move.
the top. That's unusual. They did it near the top. Usually they fade off quite a bit and then they do the offering intraday. But APVO last week and CYN this week
Yeah, I think
squeezed everyone out and then they dropped the offering near the highs.
yeah. So I think
Was
the offering
interesting.
was announced here somewhere, so maybe you could have participated in here. But I think you could always backside. Like this had so much meat on the backside. I got a bit too aggressive because I think I filled my misses in here. I think this, so. This is really good. It's like near gap fill. You could risk like 30. But the one thing that we can take away, I think you guys all have the option to participate in the auction. If you get like as crazy as that sounds, even the CYN down here, and this is really far away, but you could still participate at the auction in position size versus like 36. You can put a limit. Change the TIL unless it's Amex or something, and then you change the route. Okay. So it was a good week. That kind of is a bit scary in my books, I guess. This is interesting. This says other things. Okay, so this
There
is
were
what we see.
a lot of
Yeah,
at
so
the
it
end of the
says
day.
week 23, 24, there was a lot of reclaims, and then we had weaker fade in here. So I think looking at this weekly, this is fully good. Like if something like this happens, the next week is good. Or on monthly basis, this is good. Like this is a beautiful December after you could put on some heavier risk. So I think that we may get some. There's a chance it could go up to be like this because of reclaims in the past 2 weeks, or there's a chance that this week was a good fader, as we can see based on this. Everything we summarized. Any 2 cents on the 60% gappers and variable, or any pattern behavior that stuck to you guys? Adam, anything comes to your mind?
No, just the one that I made. That was the one that kind of stood out.
So if you saw it again, what would you? How could you? Without hindsight, how would you be able to define it? Like how could you
Well, I
catch
think
that again?
what you want to see what it does 10 minutes before the open, between like 9 and 9:30. Now take a look at it in a right for the open. Did it fall into the open? Yeah, take a look. No, it looks like it actually from 9 to 9:30 it fell a little bit, not much, but it fell a good amount though. I guess it felt like about 10%, right, from 9 to 9:30. So I think that's a sign that it's a short.
It consolidated sideways near the top, I would say, near pre-market highs.
I mean, the other
But
thing is,
it still fell into the open
But,
though.
I mean, the stock is 165% up. This would have been a good short. Yeah, I think basically the motto that my personal takeaway, given that we've been having easy fades right off the open, put a 0.5 hour risk on this stock. I take back what I said. Honestly, my takeaway is gonna either blow up the shorts off the open or fade off. So, anything, Martin, you would add or Abel? Martin, anything you would add?
No, it's all good.
Now we're just gonna quickly go over the ranges.
Intraday runners, you mean?
Yeah. It's gappers plus intraday runners. 52 stocks. GHG we talked about. You guys know what happened here? Anything from dilution perspective? Oh,
Which stock is this?
oh, this is
This
the.
was
I know this one.
Friday.
Offering. This is the
Biotech
offering.
stock.
This is
Where does it say? I don't see. Where does it say the ticker? What?
INMB
INMB
INMB.
right here.
from Friday.
Oh,
So-
down there. Okay.
So Martin Shkreli's short the stock. he was short the stock, and I think with like a 6 average or something, 550, and he got hella squeezed. They're announcing, so this company, I can give you guys a quick little summary. They're announcing the data point on Monday. Martin's saying it's gonna go down to like 50 cents.
Couldn't they spin the data to make it look good even though it isn't?
So, exactly. So this is what happened. It's a very interesting perspective. For us, it's not interesting because this happens to in small caps often. The data's coming out, but they did a $50 million registered direct offering, I think, and right before the data,
Isn't that illegal?
18, 19
Yeah,
million.
this is what Martin Shkreli also said, that to do this one day before the data drops should this probably be illegal.
Because they have information that normally
Well, I don't
doesn't make
think
any sense.
so. I don't think it has. I don't know. Not from a legal perspective. From a trading perspective, I could see some fund, like, we talk about all these dilution guys. So I think the offering amount was 18. So they probably just put on like 30, and they're like, hey, yeah, we'll buy it at $6.30. That's what the price was. So you automatically, if they have, so this is illegal for sure. But so if they have like a $30 million, $40 million short on, and they're instantly getting 50% on the half thing, if it bounces, then they cover. If it doesn't bounce, it goes down. It's a win-win from that aspect.
Well, that's illegal too. You can't.
Yes,
you
it is
can't
illegal.
short ahead of an offering. I mean, it seems like that'd be easy to catch too.
Yeah, well, this stuff like this happens very often, right? Like the freaking NAs, what we talked about. It went from top to the bottom, and then 2 days later they had that exact same thing, registered direct offering, and this is like the same week. Actually, frick, it's right up here. This is like one above. So in this, I think there is. I gotta see what the short interest is, but it is heavily shorted. I think the stock will definitely have a reaction. So this is something we can kind of watch for tomorrow for something that will. Wait, I'm surprised, Adam. Aren't you in biotech? You didn't follow up stuff on this, the study, and this like
Well, I
Alzheimer's.
actually shorted some, but I got squeezed when it went up. So I kind of stopped out, but then I reshorted again once they did the offer.
Okay.
Well, I have been following this. I have been following it, but I'm just concerned that they'll spin the data and put out something.
Wait,
Yeah.
you have been following it, or you
Yeah.
have not? Okay.
Not
And
like that closely. I'm aware of the stock and I'm aware of the data coming out, but I'm worried because like Saba had like over $1 billion market cap for a long time, and that was a total scam.
Yeah.
So I think they could.
Yeah, it'd be fun. We'll just have to risk manage it. But it will have range, right? We can anticipate.
Yeah.
SRFM, trickier. This is Adnan. Adnan probably love to see this an offering as well.
Yeah, on the 25th, what day is that? Yeah,
25th, yeah.
they're offering 27 million RDO.
Yeah, on the same day.
That's a big offering.
Yeah, that's
250.
fun stuff. So we're seeing some midday offerings, GIBO, I don't even know what that was. Pre-market 15 mil. During the market, we're only traded 13 mil. We got no attention that day. Let's look at the other side. If things are gonna push potentially, I guess the fade from midday runner, which I don't play, is one. Ben would long this breakout in here. I'm just watching for if there was a long setup like Trapping. This is my favorite long setup.
When you get the chance, could you look at AMI?
Did it have?
'Cause that one's kind of interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, because they put out data. I mean they put out news and I remember it was patent news. So at 8 a.m. they put out patent news. Now what happened with it from 8 a.m.? When did it start moving up?
Volume picked up at 1:32 p.m.
That's interesting. Why? What's the delay? Because the news came out at 8 a.m.
But you said it was bad news, right?
No, good news. It was yeah. I mean, for some reason it didn't really move much at 8 a.m. until 1:30. So I don't know what the deal was with this, but I got a nice short at the end of the day. I actually swung it.
I was just gonna say, I think first it's really low market cap. Number two, they're very low in cash. They only have like 10 minutes of
and
cash.
They have an ATM.
Yeah, because their burn rate is like 2. Anything else on it, Adam?
Well, I guess one risk in it is it's kind of 2.5 million, so I was kind of cautious. But for me, I like to short patent news. Like I think pretty weak news.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to get in at a pretty good price. Like I didn't even see it until like later good price. And then when it popped at the end of the day, I shorted more at like two.
So did you enter here somewhere? Were your first entries, or where did you?
My first entry was that first pop to $2. Yeah, around 3 o'clock there.
Yeah.
And then when it came down, I covered a little bit. I covered like half.
Mm.
And then went up a second time when it ripped up there. Then I shorted more. And then I covered some in the after.
I'm
But
curious.
one thing you want to look at this though. What's kind of interesting about it? You looking at it from at 3 o'clock, you think that level at 245 was the high. You think like $2 was the high. But then it blew right. It came down, and then it blew right past that. So is there any way to like tell like when is the how do you know when the high is going to be?
So for me, if this price action, Adam, like if it had a lot of, like if the $2 was here, if the resistance or the high was 2, and then it goes sideways and then it clears out into this $2, like let's say at the opening price range was 2, and it clears that out, that's when I personally get very aggressive in terms of putting on risk. Not only because you have a good risk reward, but because they don't have a lot of time to mess around. Like this is a liquidity grab. Whereas this price action, in my books, it's not as concrete that this is going to be relatively top. Because this.
You're saying that if it's two and
This is my
I thought you meant.
So let's say this is 9:30 candle. So I'm just going to draw the price action and it goes. So this is the price action off the open. And let's just say I messed it up. Let's say this is the price action. This is 2. And then it does this $2.80 or $2.18 clear out and then washes. And this is around 2 o'clock. Then I would consider this to be a higher probability of being. Because in order for it to make new high, it needs a lot of more volume. Like if there were shorts involved in here, like this is the $2, then it would have squeezed higher, right? It's all about, in my head, it's like supply and demand. If nobody's buying it above 2, and then it rejected already, for them to push it above 2 and keep going, given the float is really low and given how much volume that it's doing, the odds are low. Am I making sense?
Yeah, so you're saying because that was the open.
Yeah, in my books, yeah. And the reason for that logic is because it takes the amount of dollar that it takes to push it back up. It's going to be quite a bit, and you have to bag hold. Like unless you have if you have the whole float in and the volume dries up, for you to exit, you would need you need somebody else to be a buyer, right? If the volume dries up like this, you're screwed. Like somebody could be been shorting it because it was bad news. They thought it's bad news. So maybe somebody with the lower volume and then they got caught. Because the float is so low and it's already trading that much volume, then it would be. Make sense or no?
Yeah, it was pretty big volume. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it was. That's what I'm saying. I was a little bit concerned because the flow. I mean, do you guys think this is too risky to short? Because it's worth it on stupid news.
Honestly, bro, for me personally, I think if you do this 100,000 times, like what are you risking when you're shorting? That's one of the questions that I was gonna ask. Like
What I was doing is just my strategy was just like that's why I'm swinging it to Monday, but like there didn't seem to be anything that would indicate it, but it seemed like it was just.
But it could be a short squeeze. But what's your risk at 2?
Oh.
How do you answer that question? Shorting at 2.
My risk would be I would probably just hold it overnight. And I mean, if it goes higher than 2, I would just hold it overnight. If it goes to higher tomorrow morning, I would get out of it. Like I'm going to cover in the pre-market tomorrow.
If it goes to $6.
Oh, I'm getting out before that. I mean,
But
are you sure you're saying? Oh, you're saying if it goes to $6 the same day.
yeah, sure.
Um,
After hour, if it goes so if it consolidated here, and then it pushed here, like you have to have some sort of risk, right? Like what's your risk? Because in shorting in here, I don't think it's a high because there's nothing you can risk against. There's no intraday price action unless it's a very small size.
It popped up. That was look at how fast it went up. It was like, so then it came down a bit, but then it made new highs after that, which I was kind of surprised. But I try to short when it spikes up, compared to like stair step.
Right. But what is your risk in here?
My risk for short, it would probably be like, I think I would have to see where it goes but if it keeps going higher and higher.
Yeah, and I think
it's like $4 or $5. I would say like over $3 might be my stop.
So for me, before I enter, I always have the position size calculated. Because ideally we want trading to be boring, right? You want to preemptively calculate that this is the loss that I'm accepting, whether it's 10K, whether it's so when we calculate the position sizing, and also
It makes sense. I usually don't think about that. Maybe I should. I didn't really have a stop in mind for this. I was just gonna kind of feel it
That's-
out, see what happens.
so the thing with that, Adam, is what in my books, like if you were part of the prop firm, we go over everybody grades their setup. You have to be very methodical in setup. You have to know when is it an A plus, when is it an A. And then you also have to position size calculate, because when an opportunity comes out, like the stock on NA, or if it had dilution, or if you don't want to risk less than 1 hour. 1 hour is like whatever you're risking. Different grades require different setup. And if this was a C setup and you were struggling with performance, then one thing that we would say is try to cut out your C setups, because stuff like this, even when it works out, it feeds the aspect that what we're doing is right. Like it feels like, oh, it's a green trade, but taking this exact setup 100,000 times. Okay, let's do this cool little exercise. So on Sunday recap, and then this setup, and then we have the other setup that you mentioned. This setup, Adam, and this setup. Would you assign the same risk in here?
Well,
So-
I think with that one, so if it doesn't fall off the open, make new highs after the open, I think.
No, let's walk this to this thing. So in here,
Yeah.
let's say we're risking, for simplicity, we're risking $1,000, where you have intraday price action and the stock has gapped up 167%. There's fundamental reasons to be short if it's anticipating an offering or dilution, or that the guy said that I'm not involved and it's up 160%. Taking this trade 100,000 times versus this 100,000 times, shorting at $2, like not with this, not including this. What was the ticker? CMIX?
AMIX? Well, why don't you think it's a good trade?
We'll walk through it right now. So, like the stop is $3 in here. So it's not about good trade, better, the expected value, like equally. So, okay, setup number one and setup number two. You take 100,000 trades exactly like this. They all have gapped up 165%, and you take 100,000 of these exact same trades, same price action in here versus three. Which one do you think, if you bet $1,000 in every single one, which one would have a
Well,
exact
I
same
would have
news?
to say, the NA, well, just because it faded a little bit ahead of the open. Now, if it ended the open, the fact that it fell between 9 and 9:30, that makes it a better trade.
So then, should we bet $1,000 in each risk?
You should bet more money if you have more conviction.
Yeah.
So to me, the more confident I am in a trade, the more money I'll put in. Like some trades, they're like slam dunks. Like you're like 95% sure it'll work, and those ones you want to go huge.
Exactly.
You want to go, you're really big with it. But the ones like you're like 70% chance of getting right, that you want to go small on those. So maybe this AMIX is more like, yeah, like maybe 70-80% chance.
So for me, yeah, but also the risk reward. So like if you are right, you're losing, like a stock will never go to zero, as you know, right? So you're risking $1, which is like 50%. From $2 to 3, unless my math is wrong, it's either 33% or 50%. Don't laugh at me, I don't know. But like it's a wide stop. So for this to make sense, for you to get a risk reward of 1-to-1, it has to go down to $1. Look at the price action. Like 1 from 2 has to go to $1, because you're risking $1. You're gonna make $1. In here, even accuracy aside, in here you're risking $4, and because it's gapped up 165%, like this is very feasible. Like the red on the candle was like $14, and you're risking $4, right? So one is accuracy, the other one is risk reward. So in here, in my books, Adam, this is a mistake to risk 1,000 in both. And also another mistake is so I hate to say this, or I love to say it, I don't know. A lot of people come to us when they are in bad mental state, because nobody feels like they want to join a prop firm, and it makes sense. But if somebody's struggling mentally, or even if you're not struggling, how do you improve your performance? You cut this stuff out in my books. unless you have so much, unless you're like, I don't know what real reasoning is, but you have to fine tune it really, really well. To have a loose risk like this and then recycle, it could work. Like, but if we were in a bad mental space, I would say that to cut out these wishy-washy things first, because then your confidence will improve if you never take one of these setups. Your mental capital will be sharp. Your losers would probably be less. And then when setup like this happens, for instance, you would hypothetically, instead of risking one, you could risk like 3 risk units.
But do you think with AMIX, does it make sense? Like look at from $2 you see how it faded to like what are the odds that it would make
So
you buy that?
what if I was short? This is my short
Or do
entry.
you look at it or do you look at it that way? I mean
To be honest with you, this is what I would have shorted. This is where I would have shorted. Over the years, I've had so much pain at him. And me and Drew, you know, I've known you for a long time, like maybe 6 years, 8 years, you know. So this is where I would have entered, and this is where I would have stopped out. So I would have let
so
other people.
you would have lost on the trade.
I would have lost in the trade, yeah. And I'm honestly, I'm happy with that. So the second entry, the circle, this is where I would have entered. Why I would have entered here? Because it went above the high, and then people guessed that the top was here. Like they were guessing, because this could have gone to 250, 240, whatever. But then it came back below this level, right? Same concept, and then I would have entered here. So me entering lower than this high, I think has a higher expected value. So, I mean, given that it's a midday runner, I don't like midday. Anybody that bought this, you have to basically, like the thesis has to be so strong that all these guys have to give up their long. But if somebody puts a gun to my head and says enter, I would have entered here and risked here. And for me, it defines my risk. That way I don't have to guess where my stop is. I can position size calculate. Like if I know I'm going to risk 1,000 or 10,000, whatever it is, I know exactly how many shares I'll have less emotions. It will improve my performance. I would have happily stopped
Oh,
out
I
here.
appreciate your feedback. I mean, I guess your style is you have pretty tight stop.
No, I let price action dictate it. One thing over the years, and I know my weakness is not good with emotions. So this is not about tight stop. It's more about me letting other people guess where the top is. I just don't want to do that because the amount of times I've done that, Adam, like my drawdowns were really nasty and I went through a lot of pain and misery, and I've seen a lot of pain and misery. I'm very thankful and happy to say it doesn't come across an egotistical way from people guessing the top. So this is my entry valid setup. Like when I entered, this is
Did anybody in your platform blow up from the?
Alhamdulillah, no, bro. We are so anal about risk. You would be happy. You could ask the guys. I guess most of the guys. No, we're very risk averse. So everybody has like a 25-hour daily max loss, and we have a ticker max loss, and we have auto liquidate too. Even though it could be frustrating, it's like basically if you hit that loss, it liquidates your position like that. Small consistent gains. Okay, sorry, Adam and Abel. I hope I didn't bore you guys to death.
No, it's
No,
good.
it was a good discussion.
Yeah.
Hey man, don't worry.
Abel's not gonna kill me. Yeah, Adam, happy to, if you ever want to talk about it outside, I don't want to take too much. Happy to go into it further if you wanted to.
Okay.
Let's quickly see what other ways. So we were looking at longs. What pattern would it pick up? So below weave up and picks up. What the heck? Were you guys involved in this? I think I remember some of the guys trading it. George traded this. Were you involved in WFF? Or Abel?
Oh, I missed it. And
This is a good one to go over.
this had a lockup. I found out later this had a lockup expiration. This was probably just an intraday pump and dump.
How would you really predict that move? Yeah.
Reminds me of WhatsApp China name, because this looks like a short. I see a lot of people shorting this in here.
If you go to the 1 minute, I think this had this halted at the top.
But even here was a halt. I guess you have to eat that loss.
Yeah, you would have gotten stopped one or two. The
So-
thing is, what I missed here was the lockup expiration. If I know that there's a lockup, I would be willing to chase even, $3-4 down from the highs.
So this is one of those names where they used to be Singapore, China. This is Malaysian thing. So exactly, it's a lockup play. So maybe we need to be mindful of that. This is a lockup play, Malaysia. So Malaysia, Singapore, some of the tickers that we banned. So if we see another IPO lockup, Martin, tag me. If you guys made it this far, that means you liked it, you enjoyed it. I hope this was useful, beneficial. Feel free to write in the comments what you want. And also, if you are a trader that has made 7 figures in one point in your career, 7 figures profit, and you want to see if we're a good fit, shoot me a DM and Do Good Capital Twitter handle. If somebody approaches you, just don't get scammed. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this is useful. Share it with somebody you think that would benefit from it. And thank you very much.